I'm Dr. Seth Hosmer, and what I'd like to show you today is a hip stretch for basically the outer half of your hip. So one of the challenging things for hip stretches is that most people don't move the stretch around when they are trying to mobilize a joint. And so with a hip joint, since you've got a ball and socket, it really needs to be able to move in all directions. And when you get tense in one direction, be able to rotate the other way. And so we got to get the whole joint opened up. So the best way that we've found to do this is, I'll show you using the rig here, but if you use a door frame at home, you can just hang on to the door and set it up that way. So what we're gonna do is stretch the left side. So I'll start with all my weight on the left leg. I'll step my inside leg over the outside one. And the first step is probably the trickiest one with this. We wanna keep your core straight. We wanna push the hips out to the side. So what we're trying to do is get a stretch on the side of the hip and not up in through here. People always say, well, I'm getting a stretch in through here. So that's okay, as long as you're mostly getting the stretch in the side of the hip. Then from here, you'll hang onto your door frame and lean out to the side as far as you need to in order to get a stretch on the side of that hip. And then we're gonna start to vary the position. And there's two ways that we can do this. Method one would be to shift your hips forward or back. Okay, so that will get, if we're out to the side, we'll get right out here. If we're moving forward, we'll get the front of the hip. If we're moving backward, we'll get the back of the hip. The other way to vary the stretch is to rotate your pelvis. So if I turn to my right, I wind the hip up one way. If I turn to the left, I can wind the hip up the other way. And the idea is that we use combinations of these positions in order to fully stretch out the hip. So I'll start out to the side, and then first thing I'll do is glide forward, around, and glide back. And what I'm looking for is a tight spot that is not moving freely or causing me a bit of a hiccup or a jump in my movement. And if I feel tightness out and through here, then what I'll do is, once this spot is loaded up, then I'll start to move the hips back and forth, see if I can get more of a mobilization in that hip. I can also, from here in this position, twist to the side. And what I'm trying to do is hunt for tension in this position. Whatever I can do to increase the tension in through here. Once the tension doesn't release, then I'll vary the position in order to get the hip to loosen up. So then if the front of the hip's feeling good, I'll move around to the back. If I want to work the intersection between the glute and the hamstring, I can reach my left hand down towards my left foot. I'll rotate to the right, rotate to the left. All the while I'm keeping my weight in my left foot. The right leg is just there for balance. I can also let go of the door frame here, reach up, rotate around to the outside, vary the stretch that way. I can also do the reverse and come up this way. And the idea here again is that we're basically just trying to move the hip in all directions to get this stubborn part, the lateral part of the hip, to loosen up, as well as increase your balance and range of motion. All right, hope you enjoy.